हरे कृष्ण। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरे कृष्ण. So we'll continue our discussion. It's a very interesting subject. Of course, after Kartik break, I will take elaborately the shloki. But before that, we will try to see some of the things. I also have some things to share because everybody is in a holiday mood. So we will try to uh, take something simple and then we will resume once everybody is back. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is answering Parikshit Maharaj's question. Whole eighth chapter was questions of Parikshit Maharaj, and ninth chapter is answers by Sukadeva Goswami. He is giving answers. We'll just read the translations of first six verses. They're very nice answers that are explained by Sukadeva Goswami. He says that in the first sloka he says, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to relationship of pure soul in pure consciousness with material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working. That means in this material world, whatever relationship we are having, it does not have any much, if it is not connected through Krishna, does not have much value. And it may not stay also for long. We need to understand that all our relationship which we are having in this material body, they are temporary. Although we are so much emotionally attached because we are emotional beings, and that is the next level of happiness. After the sensual level of happiness, more we are growing in our consciousness. Emotionally, also, we can experience more pleasure. Like animals, their consciousness is less, their emotional need is also less, and their emotional experience of happiness is also less. They have, like, a cow is very attached to the calf, but for some time only. After that, it will not be attached. Another calf comes, it is attached to the new calf. And the older calf comes for drinking, sometimes it may not allow also because you think, no, this is my child. Attachment is there, but only sometimes. But human beings, there is a greater attachment. Of course, other animals, cow is having much more compared to any other animals because cow also keeps the child in the womb for 9 months like humans. Other animals, it is not like that. So the attachment is quite different and less also. The more we are growing in consciousness, the more the attachment. And the highest level of consciousness when we grow, that is the spiritual world. And there the consciousness is the highest. Now, but this type of relationship or attachment which we have in this material world is like a dream only. But somehow this dream is quite appealing. We all get affected by it very easily, and we want to continue this dream many times. Even though it is pain, don't want to. That is, that is the main. So here we'll see the next one. So this is mm, purport also is this is a very nice purport. This is we have to again and again read, but we have to go ahead. So I'll not read it again. We have read it and discussed. I try to add some more points to it. And Prabhupada writes the living entity are illusioned by the will of Lord because they want to become like that. Like a person who thinks of becoming a king without possessing the necessary qualification. When the living entity desires to become the Lord himself, he is put in a condition of dreaming that he is a king. The first sinful will of a living entity is to become the Lord. And the consequent will of Lord is that the living entities forget his factual life and thus dream of the land of Utopia where he may become one like the Lord. The child cries to have the moon, and mother gives the child mirror to satisfy. This is nice example. And then Sukadeva Sam further says this is a very the concept is very nicely explained by Sukadeva Goswami, and this is how we need to understand. This is called Shastra Yukti. What is the logic Sukadeva Goswami is presenting? Not only this chapter, whole of Bhagavatam Sukadeva Goswami has certain logic. He's having very logical presentation. Not that he's putting some random stories, whatever he's recollecting, he's trying to present it, or he's adding up some. Okay, now I have to tell a story, and then I have to uh, I have to tell a joke in between, or it's not like that. It is not that he has to prepare how to keep my audience, what type of stories I should tell, what type of joke I should tell, so that my audience are very satisfied with me. He didn't have any issue like that. He already has a logical sequence in which he wants us to understand Krishna, and that is the way we need to. That is the way we need to understand, which is Sukadeva Goswami's way. That is the reason Prabhupada or Acharyas they tell we should read Bhagavatam from the beginning because it will help us to understand what logical sequence Sukadeva Goswami is presenting. Then we understand the 10th canto. All the misconceptions of the absolute truth, what exactly is Lord, how is the Lord. So such misconceptions are cleared when we properly read Bhagavatam, which Sukadeva Goswami gave in that systematic manner. Otherwise, that misconceptions will remain and there will not be a complete understanding of what Krishna is. That is what is the problem happens to people. They may come and stay in Vrindavan also, but they will not have complete understanding of Krishna without Bhagavatam. We can understand Krishna only through Bhagavatam. That is a very important point we need to remember. If somebody has not read Bhagavatam, for him he will not have a complete understanding. He will have some understanding and it may cause rasabas or it may be some sort of some offenses also and then many other things. Only way to understand that means we need to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised. In Vallabha Sampradaya also, they also read Bhagavatam. This is a very important criteria. We have to read Bhagavatam and then only we'll understand who is Krishna. It is not by watching some serials about Krishna, movies about Krishna, just reading the stories of Krishna, what people do. And many people in India they say we are devotees of Krishna, but they didn't read Bhagavatam. That means their understanding of Krishna is very, very minimal. Sometimes it is superficial. They also say, yes, Krishna also cheated, Krishna also lied, Krishna also did this, Krishna also did this. All sorts of things about Krishna is they don't have any understanding of Krishna because they didn't read. I said, yeah, we read Krishna's Leela, but you didn't read first nine cantos. Even if we read Krishna's Leela, we'll not be able to understand Krishna. We have to read all the nine cantos the way Sukadeva Goswami presented and with the commentaries of Acharyas. to make it more easy for us to understand. And that is the only method. And here, Sukadeva Goswami he is very systematically developing the topic also. Parikshit Maharaj asks relevant questions, and Sukadeva Goswami is also developing it very systematically. And he is making us go away from all the misconceptions. So, first misconception of the absolute truth, samshaya, doubtful whether it exists or not. So, this pastime where now we are going to read is Brahma is not able to understand from where I came, searching for. That is the first term. And here Sukadeva Goswami says, the illusion living entity appears in so many forms offered by external energy of the Lord. We are all appearing in many, many forms. While enjoying in modes of material nature, the engaged living entity misconceives thinking in terms of I and mine. This is how, and lower species it is mine, in a more conscious, evolved state it is I. The ego is still there. And this is how we are caught up. The ego is the factor that holds us in this material world. If we want to go to spiritual world, we need to give up our ego. That's why it is said when we do parikrama of Vrindavan, the first temple to visit is Gopeshwar Mahadev. That is how the parikrama starts. Gopeshwar Mahadev because he is the deity for false ego, who is Lord Shiva. And he helps us to overcome this. This is very important. It is said that Baldev rules the spiritual world, and in his expansion, Sankarshan, and he takes the form of Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu gives rise to material world. Lord Shiva is expansion of expansion of expansion with a specific form, uh, gives rise to material world. Sorry, a specific form with a specific function. Is also Amsha of Vishnu only, but it is not Vishnu Tattva. That is Ishvara Tattva. Lord Shiva is an expansion with specific form. Now Shiva worships Sankarshan, and Shiva is also commends false ego, and it is he who ultimately uh, who can eliminate the false ego from our hearts. When the consciousness of living entity is covered by Maya, the shell of Maya, it takes the form of false ego. False ego makes us egocentric. I, mine. Egocentric, basically, we are always thinking of I and mine only. What for me? What is benefit for me? And we consider ourselves the center of universe. And one way or another, all our actions are aimed at providing to everyone, sorry, proving to everyone that I am the center. And a person is also, he considers himself successful in making some part of this world revolve around himself. At least my house, everybody should think about me and do the way I want. In my center, it should be I center. This is my center, so everything should be according to my the way I want. Things should be the way I want. But this is the natural egocentricism of conditioned living beings, and it is personified by Lord Shiva. The covering of Maya is controlled by Shiva. Shiva is the in charge. He is husband for Durga Devi. That means he controls Durga. But where that same Shiva, when he want to go to spiritual world, he needed mercy of Yoga Maya. Here Mahamaya is controlled by Shiva. There Yoga Maya, uh, Shiva wants mercy of Yoga Maya, Purnamasi, to enter into Raslila. But how Lord Shiva could enter? Then he gave up his false ego. When he goes there and he says that this is normal, he is a great devotee, but his goal or task of creation is to give living entity the sense of separation from God. This is what Lord Shiva does, and that is what is false. Ego is a false idea that I am separate from God. This is a very important understanding that what is that false ego means? We identify ourselves separate from God. Separate from God means what? Separate, that is false desires to enjoy. And if anybody, I think most of you may not be having any separate desires from God, but whoever has, they have false ego. That Prabhupada explains that living entities naturally want to enjoy. And of course, all of you want to serve, but naturally the tendency is there for many of us that there is a desire to enjoy. And Krishna also wants to enjoy, and living entity also. Because the tendency to enjoy for us is coming from Krishna only. Because Krishna want to enjoy, we also want to enjoy. And because we have the same nature of Krishna, we are all seeking for pleasure. Anandamayo Bhyasa. But there is a mistake. The false position of living entity in the material world, they want to enjoy independent of Krishna. So they are taking themselves separate from Krishna. And who helps us to do this? Lord Shiva helps us. That is the main criteria. And Lord Shiva helps in this, and he gives a person the idea of his fall. Now, the next understanding, of course, this is second shloka we discussed, but I didn't share some of the things. I thought I'll share a few more things about I and mine. The feeling of being a god or enjoyer, an independent enjoyer, is called the masculine principle, Purusha Bhava. Now, no matter what dress we are having, somebody have female dress, somebody has male dress. In the material world, everybody has different dresses, but all of them have one thing common. There is Purusha Bhava. Even though there will be female dress, which is female, but the Purusha Bhava is still there. The living entity in this metal world is Purusha, and Shiva helps us. We are actually Prakriti, but Shiva helps us to remain as Purusha. That Bhav is there of Purusha, and Shiva helps us to get rid of false ideas also. His role of creation is to give us this illusion, and his role is creation. If one worships him correctly, he will help us to get rid of it. That's why when we go to Vrindavan, we first go to Gopeshwar Mahadev. He is called Kshetrapal. And first temple to visit is Gopeshwar Mahadev. And Gopeshwar is the Ishwar for Gopis, is the Lord. Like Lord Shiva, when what happens is Krishna plays his flute to invite the Gopis. When he plays, there is a big miracle happens in the universe. People, whoever heard the sound of Krishna's flute, cannot remain calmly. When Krishna plays his flute, and Brahma in the Brahmaloka stopped chanting all the Vedic mantras. Brahma quotes Vedas all the time and chants them all the time. He is called Vidhi. But at that moment, he stopped chanting the Vedas. He did not understand what happened to him. Gandharvas who sang, cried, uh, they became very shameful when they heard the sound of and 1 minute. And when they heard, what happens is Gandharvas they stop, and dancers the dancers also they lost their rhythms, apsaras and all. And the best of the dancers they mistook the sound of the flute, and Yamuna stopped flowing. And not only that, it is said that that is the place where wind stopped blowing. Dhira Samire Yamuna Tire. And the wind stopped blowing, Yamuna said. And Shiva, who most of the time is in meditation, at that time, when he heard the flute of Lord Krishna, his samadhi, he came out of samadhi. He felt great enthusiasm and he started running from where the sound came, and Parvati could not catch. She could not reach that place. And then he arrives at this Brahma Kund, which is, and he wanted to enter where Krishna. Then Lalita Sagi says, "Wait a minute, you are not allowed." Shiva says, "Arey, who, you don't know who am I? I am the senior most devotee, Vaishnava Ananta Shambhu." And then she says that, okay, but it is not allowed still because no males are allowed. Because in Vrindavan only one male, that is Krishna. Then but he was very determined. Purnamasi said, okay, I'll help you. Then Purnamasi says uh, to Lord Shiva, okay, nearby there is uh, Ma, Man Sarovar. So you go there and you take bath in that. And he goes and takes bath, he becomes immediately a small gopi. And Purnamasi led her to this Ras Leela where Krishna is dancing. And what happens is, uh, and she tells her, "You hide here." He hides her in some bushes, and and hides her in some bushes. He said, "Don't come out, be here," and secretly watch some kunja, some bush. And then Ras Leela begins, and Krishna is dancing with the gopis, and it was so ecstatic. And all he saw in his samadhi had nothing to do what he saw during the rasa dance. He was in trance for many, 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 many kalpas, but he was experiencing some bliss in trance. But now what he saw in really in rasa dance, it is said, "Arey, why I wasted my time here?" Now what happened? There is a trouble. Krishna did not feel so much ecstasy, and he stopped, he said, maybe somebody else is there who is not supposed to be here. I'm not feeling ecstasy. And the gopis went start searching. They were searching every bush here, there, and at last she was pulled out and brought to Vamshivat. All the gopis surrounded Lord Shiva, a small girl, and started beating her. They asked, "What is your name? Where is your place? Which is your village? Who are your parents?" And then he don't know anything because Purnamasi did not tell anything about this to Shiva. They started giving slaps to Krishna, and Lord Shiva started crying. And uh, he was actually he said, I don't know." And Gopi said, "You cheating." And then his cheeks swollen. And then Purnamasi comes, "Oh, wait a minute. Don't do anything." He's Lord Shiva. And then Krishna comes. Purnamasi says, when Purnamasi comes, Krishna also folds hands. Krishna also, he says, no, no, please accept. And Krishna accepts whatever Purnamasi says. She's Guru for Vrindavan. He says, I will accept. He says, oh, he is Lord Shiva. Then Shiva comes and says, okay, you are the best of the gopis. Don't worry. And Shiva becomes very pleased. When Radharani hears, she becomes upset. He says, Are, how can you make somebody else best of the gopis? Then Krishna says, no, 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 don't mind. He is Lord Shiva. Then Srimati Radharani also says, okay, okay, okay. Then no problem. Now, the point here is that Lord Shiva also could not enter because of the ego factor. He said, I am Mahadev. So, no, you should be somebody very simple. That is the criteria. And everyone who uh, Vrindavan is like that. And Bhagavatam is also same. To understand Bhagavatam, I have this false ego because Gopeshwar is here to help us to become attached to the holy land of Vrindavan. That is our purpose. Moraman Vrindavan. When we have attachment to the holy place, holy dham, all the suffering goes away one's life. That is what we need. We need to become attached to Vrindavan by the end of our life. Very strong attachment. We don't want to live in any other place. Only Vrindavan. Because what is the source of all suffering? Is false ego. A desire to enjoy independently. Attachment to material pleasure or to the false notions that I am the center of universe. And if Shiva eliminates this and gives us attachment to the holy name, then in this way he can save us from all sufferings. I am in Vrindavan, so that is why I am speaking on Vrindavan. Once I go back, I may speak something else. So the third verse he says, as soon as a living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifest in the pure self. This is where one is already situated in that. It's not just geographical location. The one is also state of mind, right? And when person gives up this misconception of I and mine, he can experience Vrindavan at home also. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jedine grihete bhajana deki, grihete goloko bhaya. At home only is experiencing that Vrindavan, Golok. And then next loka says that, O king, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his not deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned souls. This is what is Sukadeva Goswami is telling. Lord appeared in front of Brahmaji, and then he says, this is we were discussing that how samshaya, there is a doubt. This doubt is from this past time. Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seat. And while thinking of creation of this material, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative energy, directions for such creative work, nor could he any find out the process for such creation. Like, so he was in doubt, and that is the first understanding. Of people are doubt whether it is there or not, exists or not. Samshayatma vinashyati. And then yesterday's verse is while thus engaged in thinking, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby in the water two syllables joined together. One of the syllable was the 16th and the other is 21st of the Sparsha letters, and they joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life. That is Tapa. So we read about Tapa in the last. Now we'll see what further Sukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj. निशम्य तद्वक्त्रदिदृक्षया दिशो विलोक्य तत्रान्यदपश्यमान तदिष्ण्यमास्ताय विमृश्य तद्भृतम् तपस्य उपादित इवाददे मनः. He says that when he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides, but he was unable to find anyone besides himself. He thought it wise to sit down on his lotus firmly and give his attention to the execution of penances as he was instructed. This is a very important understanding we all need to get. Anything that is this whole creation starts with penance only. Brahma did the penance, and he is then only he got the energy to create or do anything. It is same thing with us. Anything has a payment. We cannot get it free. If we get free, the payment will be later. People are enjoying without paying, and they pay for the diseases because they didn't pay for it. Or they pay in terms of sufferings. In Kali Yuga, why the suffering is quite more compared to other, because they don't do any penances, no austerities, no tapasyas, no yajnas. This is the cause of great suffering for living entities in the especially in Kali Yuga, because they are not doing it and they are enjoying. You see, the creation starts only with tapasya. Prabhupada says to achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. After being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. Although he could not find anyone besides himself, he could rigidly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. Brahma was the only living being at the time because there was no other creation and no one could be found there except him. In the beginning of the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first chapter, first verse, it has already been mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. The Lord is within every living entity as a super soul, and he initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who inclined to have it. That means we also. But for us, we need somebody like Guru because Brahma, before he didn't had any Guru, only Lord only became Guru. For us, we have, so we cannot directly take from. They can take, but we have not that qualifications like Brahma. That's why we need to have a living Guru who will help. As already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master of the universe. And since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession, and in order to receive the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. After being initiated with the proper spiritual master in the chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya, in the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma to be initiated directly by the Lord himself from within. Because one should not be opposite. One should not think himself on the level of Brahma, that Lord will initiate. Because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. The post of Brahma to officiate in the creation of the universe is offered to the most pure living being, and unless one is so qualified, one cannot expect to be treated like Brahmaji directly. But one can have the same facility, facility through unalloyed devotee of the Lord. Through scripture, that means Brahma is pure, that's why Lord initiated. But if we want, we can get it from a pure devotee. That's what Prabhupada is telling. And Brahma, when he calls, Lord directly comes. In Brahmaloka, Mahapurusha comes every day. He wakes up and Lord Brahma offers him services, praise and all. And then he goes to sleep. And again he wakes up, he takes food, again sleeps. But he's at least directly coming from Brahma. But one can have the same facility through unalloyed devotee of the Lord, through spiritual instructions, as revealed in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, especially. Uh, and although through bona fide spiritual master available to the sincere souls, the Lord Himself appears as a spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential beloved representative. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of Lord. So this is what we have to understand. So, this is the very nice instruction. And then Divyam Sahasrabdamamogadarshano Jitanilatma Vijitobhyendriya Atapyasam Swakhilalokatāpanam Tapasya Tapayam Stapatam Samahita. It says that Lord Brahma underwent penance for 1,000 years by the calculation of demigods. Demigods 1,000. That means not so long for Brahma as such. Because Brahma's one day is only 1,000 Divya Yugas. That means even thousands of years of demigods is like not even one day for Brahma he did tapasya. He might have done for few hours. He heard and few hours of Brahma's meditation. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky, and he accepted it as divine. Thus, he controlled his mind and senses, and the penance he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus, he is known as the greatest of all ascetics. Even though few hours for Brahma, still he is the greatest because nobody can do even that many thousands of years. If Brahma sits for one day penance, finish. Nobody will match. It is like 1,000 Divyugas they have to do. Prabhupada is writing, Lord Brahma heard the occult sound tapa, but he did not see the person who vibrated sound, and still he accepted the instructions as beneficial for him, and therefore he engaged himself in meditation for 1,000 celestial years. One celestial is equal to 6 into 30 into 12 into 1000 of our years. 1,000 years into 12 months, each month 30 days, and why there is 6, I don't know, 6, but 30. His acceptance of the sound was due to his pure vision of the absolute nature of the Lord, and due to his correct vision, he made no distinction between the Lord and the Lord's instruction. There is no difference between Lord and sound vibrations coming from him. Even though he is not personally present, the best way of understanding is to accept such divine instructions. And Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is a living example of this process of receiving transcendental knowledge. The potency of transcendental sound is never minimized because the vibrator is apparently absent. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or any other revealed scripture in the world is never to be accepted as an ordinary mundane sound without transcendental potency. One has to receive the transcendental sound from the right source, accept it as reality, and prosecute the direction without hesitation. The secret of success is to receive the sound from the right source. Very nice point, Prabhu. The secret of success is to receive the sound from the right source, a bona fide spiritual master. Mundane manufactured sound has no potency. That means anything we are creating does not have. One should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency, and either by discrimination or by fortunate chance, if one is able to receive the transcendental sound from bonafide. Now we say, Array, what is this Mahamantra? No, we can hear from anyone. It will not, especially Vedic mantras, na? Mahamantra is different, but Vedic mantras. Really from a spiritual master because he vibrates with that realization. That's why when we hear from him, we can also experience same realization if we chant for long. There is one more thing, like people here, in the when we see people are sitting, Radhe, 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 they are sitting and asking, Radhe, Radhe, they are begging, Hare Krishna, they are begging. Now, are they chanting the name of Radha? Are they chanting the name of Krishna? They are actually chanting, give me money, give me money. Even though it is looking like Radha, even though it is looking like the sound is Radha and Krishna, but they want money, they are beggars. So this is actually the problem in this material world. They they are in the dham also, but they are not getting benefited. They are just chanting money, 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 money. Hare money, hare money, 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 hare hare, hare dollar, hare dollar, hare euro, hare euro. So this is what is their chanting is going on. Not happening. The disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of bona fide spiritual master. Prabhupada writes, one should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency, and either by discrimination or by fortune, net chance, if one is able to receive the transcendental sound from a bona fide spiritual master, his path of liberation is guaranteed. The disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of bona fide spiritual master as Lord Brahma executed the instructions of his spiritual master. The Lord Himself, following the order of bona fide spiritual master, is the only is that only duty of disciple, and this completely faithfully execution of order of bona fide spiritual master is the secret of success. Very nice. Lord Brahma controlled his two guards. Lord Brahma controlled his two grades of senses, namely senses of perception and the and his organs of actions, because he had to engage them in the execution of the order of the Lord. The Lord's order descends in disciplic succession to the bona fide spiritual master, and thus execution of the order of bona fide spiritual master is factual control of senses. Such execution of penance in full faith and sincerity made Brahmaji so powerful that he became the creator of the universe. And because he was able to attain such power, he is called best among all the tapasvis. We'll take one more shloka. तस्मै स्वलोकं भगवान् सभाजिता सन्दर्शयामास परमं न यत्परं व्यपेतसङ्क्लेशविमोहसाद्वसं वदृश्पुरुषैरभिष्टुतम्. He says that the personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode Vaikuntha, the supreme abode, supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, free from all kinds of miseries and fears of illusory existence. The trouble of penance accepted by Lord Brahma were certainly in the line of devotional service, bhakti. Otherwise, there is no chance that Vaikuntha or Swaloka, the Lord's personal abode, would become visible to Brahmaji. The personal abode of Lord, known as Vaikunthas, are neither mystical nor material as conceived by the impersonals. But realization of the transcendental abode of the Lord is possible only through devotional service, and thus the devotee enters into such abodes. There is undoubtedly trouble in executing person, but the trouble accepted in executing bhakti yoga is transcendental happiness from the very beginning. Susukam kartumabhyam. Whereas the trouble of presence in other process of self-realization, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, etc., without any Vaikuntha realization, ends in the trouble only and nothing more. There is no profit in beating him. Stula tushavagata. क्लिश्यन्ति बोध केवल लब्धे तेषामशो क्लेशल एव शिष्यते नान्यत्तास्तु लतुषावगाता. Brahma says this. It is like beating empty husk without grain. Similarly, there is no profit in executing troublesome penance for self-realization other than peasants in Bhakti Yoga. Executing Bhakti Yoga is exactly like sitting on the lotus sprout out of the above abdomen of the transcendental personality of Godhead. Lord Brahma was seated there. Brahmaji was able to please the Lord. Sorry, Brahmaji was able to please the Lord, and the Lord was also pleased to show Brahmaji his personal abode. Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary on Krama Samdarbha, annotation of Srimad Bhagavatam, cites quotations from Brihat Aranyak Upanishad Vedic evidence. It is said that Yajnavalkya describing the transcendent abode of Lord to Gargi, and that the abode of Lord is situated above the highest planet of the universe, namely Brahmaloka. This abode of the Lord, although described is in the revealed scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavata, remains only a myth for the less intelligent class of men with a poor fund of learning. Herein the word Swadrishvabhir is very significant. One who has actually realized his self, one who actually realized his self, realizes the transcendental form of his self. Impersonal realization of self and supreme is not complete because it is just as an opposite conception of material personality. The personality of God and personality of devotees of the Lord are all transcendental. They do not have material bodies. The material body is overcast with five kinds of mental condition, namely ignorance, material conception, attachment, hatred, and absorption. As soon as it is Abhinivesha, interest. As long as one is overwhelmed with these five kinds of mental miseries, there is no question of entering into Vaikuntha law. The impersonal conception of oneself is just a negation of material personality and is far from positive existence of personal form. The personal form of transcendent abode will be explained in the following verse. Brahmaji also described the highest planet of the Vaikuntha Loka as Golok Vrindavan, where the Lord resides as a cowherd boy, keeping transcendental Survi cows and surrounded by hundreds and thousands of gods of fortune. Chintamani Prakarsat Mashkalpa Vaksha Lakshavade Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sasasasam Sevimanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Okay, we'll end here. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.